Yeah.
But speaking of influences, like, do you have any particular idols that you want to be like?
Like in the comedy realm, not so much. I have like a lot of comedians that I enjoy to watch, but I really want to like kind of stay individual in that sense. I like, even though I joke about like playing into the Andy Samberg, like Adam Sandler, Jewish comedian type niche, like I kind of want to carve a path that's my own.
Of course.
I
And
love both of them. I really like Judah Friedlander. I like Aziz Ansari. Um, Chris D'Elia just came out with a really, really good stand-up special on Netflix. But I'm just like a typical fan in that sense.
yeah.
But like life idols, I'm really inspired by my dad a lot.
Oh,
He and I have a lot of differences in the way that we view the world, I think, but also a lot of similarities. And he just has taught me a lot about like what it means to be a man. And I always say that like he's my biggest inspiration and idol.
what does it mean? What does it mean to be a man?
I wish I had the answer, but I'm still figuring it out. I think that it's a hard thing. Like I don't have an answer to it. He's just exemplified the type of man that I want to be: compassionate for other people,
Mm.
caring for his family, and absolutely like the most ambition in himself and confidence in himself. And I really like respect that and try to emulate that. Even though like my dad is, well, I mean, he's gonna hate me when he hears this, but like, okay, now I'm making like such a double entendre joke. He has like a hearing loss, so he wears hearing aids. So like, not that that's necessarily correlated, but I think that's impacted the way that he's like not as into music as I am, not as into the arts, but he has been unbelievably supportive of me pursuing this, and my mom too. Like I have a separate place in my heart for her. My mama is like number one. But he that was never really as much of an interest for him. He was very into sports, but he always just has encouraged me to like go about my life with whatever I do, doing it the best that I can and putting my best foot forward and setting goals and accomplishing those goals.
Got you. So he has given you a lot of drive to accomplish whatever you need to do.
Yeah, and I think it's been tough at times to have that relationship with my dad, especially being the oldest. A lot of what I experienced for the first time, both he and my mom experienced for the first time,
Right, right, of
like
course.
from like the parent perspective and from the kid perspective. So that's definitely caused a bunch of conflict, I think, in our relationship at times. But I think our love for each other and my respect for him and his growing respect for me becoming like a young man, that has like been paramount to any conflict or fight that we get into. But yeah, I mean, he pushed me hard as a kid.
Do you have any stories or anything that would kind
I
of
mean, like the one thing that we always joke about in my family is like me sitting at our dining room table. Do you remember when you're in like fourth grade and you have those sheets of multiplication problems?
Mm-hmm.
There's like 50 multiplication problems. I was always like, I really struggled with math, not because now I'm much better at math than I ever was, which is a good thing because I work in finance. So I hope like my boss doesn't get freaked out by that. But um, I always just never felt comfortable in math. Like it just freaked me out. I got like math anxiety. And my dad is an accountant. So like oil and water in that sense, or was an accountant like per in the first part of his career. So he sees math with the most clarity. Me, like math was like another language.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember sitting at our dining room table and like screaming at each other, me crying, like, I don't understand how to do these problems. And he would like go through the way that he would write it, like in the old school accounting way of like lining everything up. And I'm like 8 years old. Like I can't figure out like what 2 times 5 is without like having to do it long way in my head. And I wound up doing well on the test. So like let that be indicative of he would push me.